Welcome to the Pub Sports Radio Ian Cameron Sports Report for Wednesday, December the 2nd. We've got college basketball that we'll look at on today's show. Two great games in the Jimmy V Classic tonight in Indianapolis. These two games could be classics. I'm looking forward to them. We'll break down West Virginia, Gonzaga, Baylor, Illinois. Two big games in the Jimmy V Classic in college basketball, and then we'll do some college football for Thursday. We'll look at the two games taking place. We've got Air Force against Utah State, Louisiana Tech, and North Texas. That's coming up. Let's get to it with college basketball. We've got West Virginia taking on Gonzaga. Gonzaga 8.5-point favorites here. The game in Indianapolis. The total has been bet up a little bit. It was 153 earlier today. It's now up to 156 in this game. And obviously, there's some betting market reaction to this Gonzaga team and how just unbelievably explosive they've been at the offensive end. They have an incredibly fast pace and tempo. In fact, if you look at all the key metric sites for college basketball, you look at Gonzaga, 16th in the country in tempo, the number one team in terms of offensive efficiency so far this season, 116.5 in terms of their offensive efficiency rating, number one in the country. It's just an explosive team, and they play at a fast pace. They've got inside-outside scoring balance. Jalen Suggs, the freshman guard, looks absolutely incredible for this Gonzaga team. They bring back Drew Timme. They bring back Corey Kispert. It is an experienced team. They've got a bunch of shooters on the floor that can get hot and light it up at any given time. They're a good rebounding team. They're a good defensive team. This is a complete Gonzaga team. And if you're West Virginia, you're going to have to make this your classic, muck it up, make this game ugly, try to slow down the pace. That's probably going to be the best chance that West Virginia has in this game. They don't want to be running up and down the court in a track meet with this Gonzaga team. And if I'm Gonzaga, I'm going to do everything I can here in this game to push that pace, because the one thing that West Virginia has is they have an absolutely outstanding front court, with Tshwibe and Derek Culver that can just get after it in the low post, good around the rim in terms of protecting the rim, can get you easy shots close to the basket as well. But if you're Gonzaga, those are two guys that in the paint could be a force defensively. How do I wear those guys down during the course of a game? Well, what I do is I run up and down and try to tire them out. And I think that is definitely going to be part of this game plan for Gonzaga. Gonzaga's looked outstanding. And I'm not going to say there's a bargain here with Gonzaga. There's not, because West Virginia is a damn good team in their own right, and they're 8.5-point underdogs here. That's how good this Gonzaga team has been. But I'm not looking to step in front of Gonzaga. They beat Kansas wire to wire. You see what they did as well against Auburn. Absolutely took that team apart from start to finish. 2 straight wins and covers. Even with this team being as good as they are, the betting markets haven't caught up yet, believe it or not, to how good Gonzaga is. So I'm not in a rush to bet against them here, even though they're laying 8.5 in this game. I agree with the total move. The over is probably the way I would go in this game from a side or a total perspective. I think Gonzaga is going to get their preferred style of play. I mean, they've been able to push the ball down the floor. They've been able to get easy baskets in transition in their first 2 games. West Virginia is going to do everything in their power to prevent that from happening, but other teams have not been able to impose their style and their will yet against Gonzaga. And until I see that, I'm going to think Gonzaga is going to be able to get this game in the pace and the flow that they prefer, which is up and down the floor. So I lean Gonzaga. I like the over, though, in this game with the total going up. I agree with that totals move. All right, on we go now. Baylor and Illinois. This is another good one. The second half of the Jimmy V Classic doubleheader tonight. We've got Baylor 4.5-point favorites here, 141 the total in this game. Looking forward to Baylor and Illinois, because to me, we know how good Baylor is. They're an elite defensive team. There's no denying that whatsoever. I absolutely like what I see from this Baylor team at the defensive end. It looks like Scott Drew, who was not around to coach Baylor's last 2 games, he will be back on the sideline, because remember, he had come down with the COVID-19 virus, but it looks like he'll be back on the Baylor bench here coaching the team tonight. Baylor's been very good so far. They beat Louisiana, Lafayette, and Washington in their first 2 games. Looked very, very impressive along the way. Lots to like with Baylor, of course. An elite rebounding team, an elite defensive team. There's no question. Jared Butler, absolutely outstanding player for this Baylor Bears team. Great inside-outside balance as well. Mark Vitale, Davion Mitchell as well, a really good defensive presence for this team. This is a very well-rounded Baylor team, much like they were last year. But Illinois, I think, has the horses to hang with them. And Illinois, I like the fact that they almost lost to Ohio. And Ohio is actually a decent team out of the MAC this year, but they barely beat Ohio by 2 on Friday. It wasn't their best game. They missed a lot of shots. They committed 16 turnovers in that game. But what I like is that Illinois found a way to win. And sometimes you need that slap in the face sometimes to wake you up and get you back playing better the next time out. And maybe that Ohio close call that they barely escaped with the victory in that game is maybe the wake-up call Illinois needs going into this game against Baylor. I think it's a close game. Baylor winning it wouldn't shock me. But you can get 4.5 on a neutral court with an Illinois team I like quite a bit. I mean, I think Brad Underwood's an outstanding coach. In fact, I might even give him a slight edge in the coaching department here over Scott Drew. Ayo Dosunmu, he was an amazing player last year for Illinois, and the coach, Brad Underwood's already saying he's even better this year. So you could imagine how good he could be. He's already averaging 25 points per game, 7.7 rebounds, 6.7 assists per game. Kofi Coburn, the 7-footer in the low post, he's been a double-double machine in the first few games for Illinois, 15 points, 11.7 boards per game this season. That matchup with Kofi Coburn in the paint against two pretty solid bigs for Baylor as well, Flo Thamba, Jonathan Shachua, going to be an interesting battle here in the low post with these two teams. But when push comes to shove, I think Illinois plus the points in a close game is the way I would go here. I think it's a tight game. Would lean here to the Illini. Should be a good one here between Illinois and Baylor. All right, college football on Thursday. We've got 2 games. We've got Louisiana Tech taking on North Texas in Conference USA action. Right now, the current line is North Texas, a slight favorite here, 1.5 point favorites in this game. The total 66 here across the board. Going to be interesting to see what we get here from Louisiana Tech. This is a team that really hasn't played any football for the last month. They haven't played since Halloween. October 31st was the last game played by this Louisiana Tech football team. They've had 4 games canceled because of COVID-19 issues since then. So how sharp are they going to be? That's going to be the question. It's been a disappointing year for Skip Holtz's team. Luke Anthony, has been up and down at the quarterback spot. Austin Allen actually came in at quarterback for Louisiana Tech in the game prior to the last 4 weeks where they haven't played against UAB. So we'll have to wait and see where he goes with his quarterback in this game. Maybe he plays both of them, Luke Anthony and Austin Allen. But the bottom line is the Louisiana Tech offense has been very, very erratic this season. The North Texas team, they're not very good defensively, particularly their run defense is hideous. They're giving up nearly 6 yards per carry on the ground. That is absolutely atrocious. But Louisiana Tech doesn't have much of a run game this year. So it's a question of can they take advantage of that here going into this game? I just don't like North Texas in the favorite role. They've been a little bit better. I mean, I was shocked they beat Rice a couple of weeks ago, this North Texas team, but they're still not a team I trust as a favorite. I would lean here to Louisiana Tech, but it's a game I would just rather avoid because, when you got a team that hasn't played in a whole calendar month, how can you really trust them to be sharp and play their best? I'm not so sure with Louisiana Tech, but I would still rather the La Tech side at a +1 price than North Texas is a favorite, which to me, again, a favorite with a bad defense like North Texas, I'm really not interested. So if I had to bet that game, and it's a game I'm not going to be betting, but if I had to, I would lean slightly to Louisiana Tech. And the other game we've got Thursday night, Mountain West action, it's going to be Air Force taking on Utah State. Obviously a season to forget. To be sure for Utah State, it's just been dreadful for them from the beginning. Air Force double-digit favorite here, 51 the total in this game. I mean, Gary Anderson fired a few weeks ago. Jason Shelley dismissed from the team. Andrew Peasley, now the sophomore, is the starting quarterback for Utah State, and I really can't say he's been anything special since he's taken over as the starting quarterback here. We'll have to wait and see. Air Force, to me, Air Force has been solid. I was impressed. They dominated New Mexico a couple of weeks ago. This triple option attack should be interesting to see if Utah State can stop it. You would think they're probably going to have a little bit of difficulty doing that. Air Force has certainly done well recently head-to-head against Utah State. And even with, the coaching change, you thought maybe this is going to spark something with the Aggies, but this has been an atrocious defensive team all season. They haven't been able to get stops. Their quarterback play and their offense truly has been non-existent this year. Utah State, that's a problem as well. And it's a team going nowhere. It's a team that's had a dismal season. And when you're a bad team, bad program, you've had coach fired, you've had your starting quarterback dismissed from the team, where's the incentive to keep fighting the good fight if you're the kids on this Utah State team? It's just been a pathetic season, dismal year. You just want to get the season over with. And, dead team walking, that's a phrase I use at college football at this time of year. UNLV, Utah State, Southern Miss, Vanderbilt even. They showed signs of quit last week against Missouri and that despicable blowout loss they had. These teams that just don't seem to be showing you much effort, much fight. Again, we're in the middle of a pandemic. It's already a risk for, players that are playing through this. And you're having a bad season. Nothing's going right. Can't go to a bowl game. What is the reason to just keep, putting your best effort out there? Then that's why I'm leery of betting on teams like Utah State this late in the season that have had a dismal year and probably just want to pack their bags and go home at this point. So, it's a lot of points to lay with Air Force. Again, no bargain. Again, with a Utah State team that's been dismal ATS all season, you're not going to get a bargain to back Utah State at this stage of the year. But I don't want the dog here. It would be Air Force or pass for me in this Mountain West affair. All right, that'll wrap up this edition of the Pub Sports Radio Ian Cameron Sports Report for Wednesday, December the 2nd. Thank you for tuning in, as always, right here on the Pub Sports Radio YouTube channel. Remember, tomorrow we'll be back with another edition of the Ian Cameron Sports Report. On Thursday, we'll talk more college basketball. We'll preview the Friday night games in college football as well. And also a reminder that the Ian Cameron Football Frenzy Show, which is every Thursday right here on the Pub Sports Radio YouTube channel, is moving back to its regular time slot, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific tomorrow. And I'll break down every NFL game on the board for the upcoming week from a betting perspective. So a double dose of yours truly on the Pub Sports Radio YouTube channel tomorrow, the daily Ian Cameron Sports Report, plus Ian Cameron's Football Frenzy, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific tomorrow on Thursday. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Appreciate all the viewership and the support. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. I'll be back with you tomorrow on Thursday for another edition of the Pub Sports Radio Ian Cameron Sports Report.